Hello and welcome to this presentation, which I'm calling Bitcoin and the Marketplace of Life. How does sound money tie it all together? This morning I was out walking. My daughter, she goes, "Daddy, what's that ship?" And I looked over to the ocean in the port of Melbourne and there was a large container liner. And this sparked a conversation that I think is infinitely fascinating, frankly. And it's really around the characteristic of humans to trade. And I said to her, "Well, darling, you see all those boxes on top of the ship? There are products inside them. It could be TVs, it could be fruit and veg, it could be a car. And that's what we use every single day. They all come from somewhere." And I looked below me, and there in the bottom of the pram my second daughter was sitting in was a number of products that we'd bought. Nappies, wipes, umbrella, some food that I cooked from breakfast this morning, some water bottles. You name it, it's in there. Those are things we all need. Now, where do they come from? And to a 3-year-old child, you have to start from first principles and you have to explain, well, someone made it. And really, this is about the specialization of skills. And we generate value from what we become good at, and we then sell that in the marketplace. And there are markets within markets within markets. To use the water bottle analogy, you look into the bottom of that pram, well, there's a plastic top to it. There's a kind of steel peg that comes out of it as a holder. And there's then the bottle itself. It's printed in color. All the different ingredients to that one product, they were all created with a supply chain. And so there's a market for the paint. There's a market for the plastic top. There's a market for all the other different ingredients. Now, those things would not come together and be created were it not for money. And money is the grease that pulls these market transactions together. It fulfills 3 specific roles: store of value, medium of exchange, and unit of account. Now, for those of us that are long-term investors, store of value is particularly interesting when it comes to money. But when you look down on the bottom of the pram there, much like when you walk into a supermarket and you see all these different products on the shelves, think about the transactions that happened in order to get them all there, to bring goods to market. Well, they've used a medium of exchange. They've also used a unit of account. Now, the interesting part here is there's a certain characteristic that makes good money. And that's why we've had different forms of money over history. And today we're about to witness, in my opinion, a revolution in the monetary space that hasn't been seen for a long time. But what is the problem that it solves? It's this thing called the double coincidence of wants. So back in a barter economy with a small village, I might have been a farmer and I turn up with my cow and I want to sell my cow and I need some apples. And luckily someone else has an orchard and we can do that trade. But as soon as you get into a situation where people become more and more specialized at what they do, you need an intermediary. Now, the Austrian School of Economics is so helpful from this perspective, and they've studied money very closely. They talk about the most saleable good. And that's what money is. It's the easiest thing to transfer to other people with value in terms of swapping your work, your energy, your time. Now, there are specific characteristics to money. Is a money very divisible? Is it very durable? Is it portable? Is it scarce? Fungible, i.e., is it totally homogeneous? And can it be verified? To give a specific example on verifiability, if you give me a yellow rock and it's come with a print on it from a local company that I know to be a smelter of gold, then okay, I probably think it is actually gold, but who knows? You cannot properly tell. So, with all that said, the free market is the best way of deciphering what a good money actually is, because people end up using it over time. So when we look back in history, gold has been the primary use of money, or the primary candidate for the best money we've had to date. Now, what I think is interesting is to consider what happens when corruption comes into money. And what does that do in terms of altering our day-to-day reality? As you will know, and if you follow this channel, today we're witnessing, hyperinflation exists in a number of nation states. The base currency of the world, the US dollar, is probably double digits real inflation. Now, the CPI number is doctored to high hell, so we don't necessarily trust that. But let's say that the latest CPI print was around 6%. Okay, well, what does this mean? Well, all of those prices in the market, are they actually correct? Maybe they're wrong. So go back to the pram to think about the nappies and the wipes and the bottles all in the bottom there. Someone somewhere created that because they were getting paid in money. And that money, what if it's not worth what they thought it was? Well, ultimately, this leads to a drastic misallocation of capital. People spend things on stuff that isn't real, or they get paid in money that doesn't actually have the value they think it does. What this means is that every day we walk around using money that is as manipulated as the modern monetary system is and fiat currency, we're not living in reality. Consider that for a moment. Now, why should you care? Good point. Frankly, I love the phrase, came for the gains and stayed for the revolution. I am a self-interested human. This is a characteristic that runs throughout us all over the world. And instead of being something that should be shunned, is actually it's something that should be valued, frankly. I want to survive, and I want to do that in the best way, shape, and form I can. Now, therefore, why should you care about this problem? Okay, well, I'm going to give you an opportunity here. Our friend Bitcoin is going to come into this discussion. It is a total paradigm shift. We're talking about moving monetary systems. We're going from a debt-based modern monetary theory to a bearer asset that's digital and scarce. Remember earlier we spoke about scarcity as a characteristic of money. Crucial. Now, what is this ushering in? In some ways, I believe we're just at the cusp of the digital renaissance. Now, 50 years ago, you would never have imagined that we'd have handheld computers in our pockets and access to the internet and all the information that we do. But in some ways, that true shift has not yet happened because of the lack of sound money. Think about all of the transactions that you personally do in a daily way. What if they're all wrong by a couple of percentage points here and there? What does it mean when truth comes to money? Well, inevitably, I think you want to be buying some of this stuff, Bitcoin, right? Take a holistic view. What's your net wealth? Calculate it up. All the stuff you own. What's 1% of that? Is that risky? 5% of that? Is that risky? And make an allocation. Get on with it. Buy some of this stuff just in case it really does kick off in the way that I think it will. And when you think about the problem we've talked about today, the marketplace is so distorted because of the current monetary system, what a difference it might make if you own a portion of the network of all future transactions, whether it be store of value, medium of exchange, or unit of account. Now, finally, it's very important to utilize one of the most critical parts of Bitcoin, which is self-custody. Yep, you can take these assets into your own hands and no one else can take them off you. Now, I love a discussion which is around when to buy. I was once told by an investor, not do you just have to work out what you want to buy, you have to work out when to buy it. Now, I know I want to buy Bitcoin. Great. But when the hell do you do it? Short-term volatility is a thing. Now, there are a number of different options open to you. A dollar cost average is a simple process where every Monday, every 2 hours, whatever you choose, you accumulate a certain amount in fixed dollar terms from fiat into Bitcoin, and then it sits in your custody. Great. Now, the advantage of that is you average out this volatility over time. There are other options, though. You can potentially use technical analysis. So, for example, if the price of Bitcoin today was lower than the 200 moving week average, then generally speaking, that is considered to be a very good time to buy from a value perspective. Now, remember, price and value are very different things. So, always have a think about when you might buy. And equally zoom out. If you're making a holistic approach, 1%, okay, you're going to hold it forever, maybe never sell, then timing right now, if Bitcoin does what we think it will, is largely irrelevant, to be honest. Now, the final point here is, as I kick this YouTube channel off, I want to start helping people. I've been through a journey myself, reallocating capital out of the old system into the new. First of all, just comment below, what comes up when I think about this or when you think about this. How does it look when you think about every transaction you have and every other person? It's been corrupted in some way. What does that mean from a capital misallocation perspective? You can email me, Mr. Jake Woodhouse at pm.me, or equally, I'm opening up a beta product, which will be a consultancy service. So if you're a high net wealth investor and you're looking to move capital into Bitcoin safely through the right on ramps and into self custody in a way that you know you're going to be protected long term, then give me a shout because we can figure that out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know how I can improve. Enjoy your day.